Did you know that instead of the still image you've been accustomed to for your Facebook profile, you can replace it with a 7-second video as your profile image? So, what types of 7-second videos can you create to go in there? In this video, I share with you 3 ideas for Facebook profile videos and how to create and upload them. It's a long one, but well worth it for the tips and tricks. Let's dive in. Hey, it's Gord here. Welcome. If it's your first time here and it's your passion to make great videos and become a ninja at video editing and learn more tips on how to succeed with video and marketing on YouTube, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. Okay, before diving into some profile video creation examples, let me share some tips to follow for creating and updating your profile videos. So tip number 1 is video length can be a maximum of 7 seconds and it plays in a continuous loop. So if we come in here and we go into my profile, you're going to see here in the center square, which is my profile video for a subscribe recommendation on YouTube. You can see it loops over. See there, it just started over again and it plays again. So that's one thing to acknowledge, that you're creating a 7-second video. Now, the video can only be uploaded to your profile via an Android or iOS phone. So there's no updating via your iPads or other tablets, your Mac or your PC. However, your Facebook video profile can be viewed on all devices, mobile or otherwise. Just like we're seeing here, we're on my Android phone here. Next, you can shoot your profile video right from in the profile video edit feature. So right here, you see the little picture of the camera and edit where my video is playing. If I click on that and or tap it, you can actually click on the first option here, take new profile video. So if I click on that, as you can see, here I am, and this will run for a 7-second cycle and take a picture. But today we're focused on creating new videos from a desktop, not from mobile, but I just wanted to show you that this is an option that you could use to shoot your video. So let's go back. So I want you to note that even though that option I showed you here was to take a new profile video and you're doing it right from within the edit feature here, all you really need to be able to select a profile video is to have a video that's ready, that you've created, that's, approximately 7 seconds long, or that you're ready to trim down to 7 seconds, right inside your gallery. So we're here in the gallery inside my Android, and if I had a video ready, which I do here, I can just click on one here to show you. I've selected that one. We don't want to add any text yet, but you can see here I have this little video with me being silly with like a transition, and it's kind of fun. If I clicked on edit here, you can see that it puts all the detail of the video there and gives you what's called a 7-second edit window. So we're in trim mode by default, and I could trim that, pull in the end, do whatever I want, but I've already known I've created this video and I don't need to trim it. It's exactly the way I want. You could also crop. I clicked on crop here, but because this finished video is already in a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, in this case 1080p by 1080p, there's no cropping to do. It just fits perfectly. But if I took that video from a widescreen shot video, I would be using this feature here to crop it off, and that's what we would use it. I can also choose a thumbnail. So you can see here I chose this picture. I just clicked on something. Whoops. There we go. See, I could have that as the thumbnail. Anyways, I just wanted to show you. And then I would click save, but I'm not doing that right now. We're just leaving that as is. We're coming back. And there we go. The video's there. You could also click make temporary. So I could change it to be this video to show for an hour, a day, a week, or a custom schedule. So now let's go back into the edit. Now, as I just showed you before, I could have done the select profile, but there's also the view profile video option, and that if you just click on it, and it shows you what's currently there. and that's this one. So you've seen this all play out so far. And I'm going to go back again, come in. Now let's go into the select profile video, and I'm going to choose here my branded video because I want to use that 7-second video I've created. Okay, get rid of the text part. I could go in and do editing if I wanted. Okay, but I don't want to do a trim or a crop. You know, the only thing I might want to do, let me see here. I'm going to pause that, is choose a thumbnail. Click on the thumbnail feature, and I think I'm going to choose this one. There we go. That's the thumbnail I want now. In the top right corner, you see there's a save area to tap. I clicked on the save. And now I'm going to click on use. So I clicked on use. And we're all done. I come back. You now see that my profile video has been replaced with that new 7-second version that I have. And this is my personal branded version, which we're going to get into in just a moment. Now, before I leave, I want to mention that so far I've shown you that I have a finished product video, 7-second videos. I have 2 or 3 different ones, which we're going to look at. But I've also shown you that you can create it right from within this app. But you can really create your 7-second video from any kind of application, especially on any application on a mobile device. And in my case, I have video stuff here. There's the KineMaster or KineMaster application. That's something I like to use. But what I suggest is that everyone go over and check out the awesome Dee Nimmin's channel, which is about mobile mastery, mastering your mobile. And Dee has great videos on all things mobile, including choosing video editor applications. And, you know, you got to go check out his stuff. Now it's time to take a dive in. And for the rest of the video, we're going to look at 3 examples that I created, and they're going to be done on the desktop using Camtasia. And let's go. Okay, so we're inside Camtasia now, and we're going to look at 3 examples of Facebook profile videos. And what I'm going to show you are 2 call to action types and 1 just a creative fun one. In the very first one, I'm just going to show you a quick preview of it here. As you can see, it's a picture of me pointing up to a subscribe button, and it's a call to action to tell people to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. But believe it or not, this says it's 8 seconds long, but when we bring it in to update inside the Facebook, we just trim it down to the 7 seconds. It's not a problem. So this is kind of cool, and believe it or not, this is just made by taking 2 pictures, and let's see how that is. So I have this picture here of me, which is on a transparent background, and likewise the subscribe button. So they're 2 static images, and they're against a white background. That's because I have, in my project settings, my canvas is set to white, and it gives us a nice contrasting background. So when we go in, I'm going to do this in layers so that you can see how I broke this down. You can see we have 2 tracks here. I'm going to close off track 1 from visibility, and we're going to look, and we see here track 2 has our subscribe button, and you can see it flips up with like a hinged approach, and then it's pulsating or while it's going through, and then it hinges to drop out. Actually, it's hard to see the hinge drop out, but it does. There you go. Now, how did we get that? Well, let's just go in here, and we'll take out the pop-up behavior property for a second, and you can see, yep, this is just the static subscribe button I put on there. But I'm going to undo what I just did there to bring back the property, sorry, the behavior. So you see it here, which is called the pop-up. And you can see up here in the top right here, the behavior attributes for the in, it's using the hinge, the during, it's pop-up, and out, it's hinge. And I just walked you through, and you could see those characteristics. When you want to get into tuning things, you'll see with regard to the defaults, I've changed the tension to be 4, and that's 4 from what used to be 5. Control Z there to reverse that back. And in the during, it's been pretty much left as is, standard. So this pop-up, the pop-up in the during is behaving just as the standard behavior would. And in the out, standard as well. So you can play with things, but you can see it was that simple to add it in. And you see I have a nice fade in, fade out, and the fade transition is running for a second. Now let's mute that out, track out for a second, and bring back in the track below. And we see there's two components. Component one has me just coming in, and you see I have all this nice motion in there, and that's because I have the scale property. But if we delete that, and you watch now, if I just scrub through, there's nothing going on. But do notice, first of all, that the image is zoomed in on me, and the actual image is much bigger than that. And furthermore, which you'll see in the next part, you can see I have my finger point out onto this side. And if I undo that to crop it back, and on this side, it's a little wider on the shoulders. So I cropped it in tight and nice because when I added in the scale behavior here, which I just brought back in, we get this nice little effect of me sort of bouncing in and shrinking out. And when I came in, I grew a little larger than life. So that's all, you know, just part of the scale behavior. So if we look at scale on in, there was nothing there, so we changed that from the default to none. But in the during, we're using a pulsate, smooth, and so we've changed that from the default, because the default in scale here would be none, but we've actually got a whole pulsate thing going on. And the reason we chose scale was for the out feature, because it's a shrink. Now again, ease out has been a modification, as well as the speed timing. So the point I'm trying to make here is that's just by adding one behavior that we put in here to give us that nice effect in the first piece. Now in the second piece, let's see how that's put together. As you can see, I come in, I spring in, it looks like I bounce and I'm kind of shaking, and then I fade and I disappear off to the side. So let's see how that's put together. So first off, I'm going to undo the two behaviors, the reveal and the scale, and then bring them back in one by one so that you can exactly see how I put this together. So if I take out the reveal, I'm going to delete that, and then I delete the scale, we can see that all it is just the PNG image of me on screen, and there's nothing going on, okay? But you see I positioned it on the side, and you see that the cropping has been removed because the finger point is there. Now let's see what happens when I undo and bring back in that first behavior, which is the scale. So now watch what happens. See, all of a sudden I come in and I almost like I bounce in, and then I'm static in the middle, and then as we get to the end, we can see that I shrink out. Okay, so we look on the top right here and look under the behavior. You see the in is grow, the enduring, in the during there's none, and out, shrink, and everything is the default. So that's just as we'd expect it to be. Now let's bring back in the reveal behavior. I'm going to hit Control Z again to undo the other delete. Now you can see the reveal adds another whole dimension here. So I'm going to make things interesting, I'm going to delete the scale behavior, and now we're just looking at the reveal. So if we come in, we see how I sort of like shifted over. I'm sort of moving in the middle here with like a little jumping kind of feeling, and then on the end I'm being pulled to the right. And when I came in, I sort of like popped in, and then so you see that dynamic is interesting. And if we go to look at the behavior, the details, the in is a reveal, the during is shifting with all kinds of parameter changes because all these defaults have been changed, and the out is the standard reveal. So the key thing is you'll want to play with these parameters. You can just stop the video and play with the numbers if you're going to do this on your own, because there's no point in going to every little detail, because that's not the point here. The point is to show you that you can compound behaviors and produce a very interesting result from a motion graphic standpoint. So now I'm going to undo that delete, and there we have this the scale back in. So, and we just play this, and again you can see how the reveal combined with the scale creates a very interesting effect. And then when we bring back in the full track and play our full finished product, you can see that we had two pieces, one with me by myself, then with the finger point and the subscribe button and all that movement. That's the end of example 1. Now let's look at our Facebook profile video example number 2. I call this one call to action, go to website. So let me just click here to play it. As you can see, the logo flies in, it does a spin, and then the website name comes in, boom. In a space of about 3.5 seconds, this whole thing takes place. And there's really, 3 cool elements that make this all possible. So let's dive in and look more closely. So see here, we have 2 tracks down below. We have a bunch of custom animations, and we also have a scale behavior added to both pieces. So to look at this more closely, I'm going to first take off the scale behavior so that you can just kind of see what we achieved all by itself just with our custom animations. And I'm also going to hide the track which has the text. So now we're just looking at the logo come in. So first off, you can see I started with a logo piece much bigger than the square canvas size of 1080 by 1080p. And what I wanted to do was do a custom animation. So there's a begin frame. Starting at the begin frame here, you can see it's way out. And then when it comes in, it fits nicely inside the canvas. Okay. And what happens there, so we've just done, in essence, a size change. It's sort of like a quick, zoom into it. But notice when I show you that I did the right mouse button on the end keyframe, I changed the enable easing from auto to exponential in and out. That gives us the speed in which this comes in onto the canvas. So that total time length is just about 7 frames, which is like less than 1/4 of a second. And then in between there, so I let that come onto the canvas and pause. And then to the next point, I did 15 frames, which is a 1/2 second. I then started to do what I'll call the spin. And you can see the spin goes there, and it lasts for 15 frames for another 1/2 second. And that spin was done by, again, adding the custom animation here. So just to remind everyone, if we go under animations, and we click animations here, you can easily add a custom animation just by dragging it on and then set the attributes as I'm demonstrating here. So let's go back to the end keyframe. If you see the end keyframe, the result was a spin here. And we have over here on the rotation, the Z-axis, we have a minus 360-degree spin. And as I showed you from the beginning keyframe, it was at 0, and the end was at minus 360. So we did a 1 spin clockwise spin. Then next after that component, we had another 7-frame pause. So this is all nice to emphasize things. And then after that, we had one more custom animation go in for the same length of time. And all I did was just reposition the logo to allow for the text to come in. And if we look closely here, we can see that all I did was that was a location move. And again, if we go into enable easing, we can see I put the exponential in out for fast performance. So now let's add in the scale behavior back. I'm going to undo so that it comes back in. Let me just see here. Oops. A few more undos from my movement to get our behavior to come back. There we go. So the scale is back here now. So now watch when we play this. You can see that. There you go. What we can do is look at the behavior for the scale. So we didn't do anything, but in the during, it gave it a pulsate. And I know you can't really see it, but it's very subtle. The scale, when the G's here, it just moves. It moved a very slight, there you see, moved a very slight bit in there. That's all the pulsate added. And that was done because I played with the scale to be very little and the loop time to be 2 seconds long. So I just wanted it to have this little ease feeling. That's all that was added in there. And then the out, of course, is the shrink, because now you see the logo disappear, as does the text. Okay, so that's basically all that was done to come up with our logo and its action. Now we're going to look at the text. And the text basically has the exact same scale functionality because the stuff's running in tandem. And if I just isolate that, I'll turn off track 1, and we'll take the scale out of track 2 for a second. Now, if we just look at the name come in, you can see that it came in from the bottom, and then at the end keyframe, it was situated right there. And again, enable easing, exponential in and out, very similar. So this just comes in nice and sits. And then if I bring back in the scale, you'll see here, if we play it, the scale comes in and then it shrinks. So those features. There's nothing in the during, it pulsates. So it was, again, very subtle. And then the out, a shrink. So I undo things, and now we play, it all comes together again. And now you've kind of seen how all the pieces come together. So you got to be creative. This is nice and fluid, and it takes a little time to work it out, but the effort's worth it just to have everything nicely choreographed and flow the way it does. Now we're on to the last example, which is the Facebook profile video example 3. And what I'm going to do here is just first play you the raw footage, because I'm explaining a little cool technique for the transition. As you can see by playing the raw footage here, it's a vertical format video, which I did with my phone again. And I just pointed it up at the sky, and then you're going to see I'm going to bring it down and show them, and then I'm going to come into focus very quickly. So it was just a quick flip down of the camera, and I give a nice startled look, and then you hear the geese. I make a funny face, and then I flip it back up to the sky, and then do a twirl, because I've actually changed my position, and then I flip it back down, and I'm in a different looking from a different background location. So we're going to see how I quickly put this together as my square video used for my Facebook profile video. So if we come into our footage here, so the first piece here, I actually needed to speed up what I had in the raw footage so it didn't look like it took so long. So I actually here have my clip speed. If you look in the top right, it's at 2.36 times. So you can just play with your clip speed. This is like a detail for you to play with if you're going to do something like that on your own. But then after I got that nice and concise, as you can see here, I'm gradually coming down. I had to play with the location of the footage here because it's cropped to 1080p by 1080p. So you can see I'm just really working with the square part with me in the middle. And there I fill the frame. And then again, you can see I slowly go up to the top, and then see how I transition into sky again, and I come down. Now this all happens so quickly, and the transition is accommodated through a little fade. As you can see here, I got a fade that lasts for 6 frames on both sides, and that helps bridge the transition nicely. So the cool part is, even though I go frame by frame here and it looks kind of blotchy and glitchy till I come through, based on where I cut it, so you can see the cut happened just as I was going, as I went up, and then when I'm at the top of the clouds, and then the cut in the other piece is at the top of the clouds as well, coming down. So they're, in essence, they're just sewn together and tightened up. So when you play it through, it looks kind of smooth, the whole thing. See how fast that happened, the transition? It's barely noticeable like it is when you go frame by frame. Anyways, that was just to show you a fun and creative way to do something. So in closing, I just wanted to show you another cool creative way to do your profile video picture. And here's Dee Nimmin. What I really like about his little video clip is he does a little smile salute and takes a sip of coffee. And, everyone can relate to that kind of experience. So, kudos to Nick to show just a nice aspect of life that's fun and creative. Wow, 7-second profile videos are a snap to create, and they can nicely spice up and complement your profile page. Now that you've got a cool profile video, how about exploring how to create cool Facebook video memes? To learn more on ideas for Facebook video memes and how to create them, be sure to click on the link for the video featured on this page, or click on the link in the video description below. And if you need any assistance with editing and producing your videos for marketing, training, or course production, be sure to reach out to me through my website, gordisman.com. See you in another video soon.